Hey, what's up guys, it's Ivan back in with another video. In this video I want to share something with you guys that's been of great value to me in my lifting career so far. And that's the power of video. Now, I've been recording myself training for quite some time, but it was never with the intention to kind of upload videos onto YouTube and to share with you guys. It was more so for trying to see how I move, how it looks, where I can improve and things of that nature. And I don't think a lot of people do that. I don't think a lot of people use video as a teaching tool or as a learning tool. I know for myself, I spent many years of lifting before I even considered recording myself. I frankly found it embarrassing to turn the camera on and point it towards me. And then, years later, I started the YouTube channel probably a year and a half ago to 2 years now. The first videos that I uploaded were actually those videos, videos where I just basically pointed a camera and trained, and that was basically it. But I want to share this with you guys because I think I've spent many years on YouTube, like everyone has. Started watching YouTube basically when it first started, but I would spend hours watching YouTube, watching lifters, watching anything really. But on the topic of weightlifting, I'd watch many hours of people lift, and it never occurred to me at the time to actually do the same, actually record myself and see how it looks side by side with the things I was seeing on YouTube. And when you record yourself, or when you see yourself for the first time lift, it is like nothing else. You just really see you for who you are, really. Like it's you can see how the squat looks, how the deadlift looks, and you see the mismatch between how you feel and how you look. I've said this many times before. So many times when I hit the daily max squat, it might feel absolutely shockingly slow and grindy. I'll play the video back and it seems as though it was fine. Like it was completely fine. The feelings kind of lied to me. I know John Bros, the legendary coach, John Bros, I say legendary because he was one of the first people that I heard about talk about praise everyday lifting, everyday squatting. But he had this quote, I'm going to get it wrong, but it's along the lines of, your body lies to you. Don't rely on feelings to guide your training. Now he's hardcore and he believes in training until you miss. But yeah, that's the extreme of it. So that was the first time I heard that. Don't just guide your training on how you feel. See how it looks. Record yourself. And I don't just mean recording the top sets. I'm kind of guilty of that. I get lazy sometimes. I just record the top sets I'm going to upload to YouTube. This is recently, and leave it at that. But really, there's a lot of value even in the warm-up sets. Trying to see how the squat looks, or whatever lift is, how the squat looks at 50% 1RM, and then see how it looks at 100% 1RM. The hip issue that I had a few weeks ago, a month ago now, was basically as a result, I think, of training too hard, and then hitting the daily max quite, how should I say it, quite heavy, and I was kind of getting out of the optimal technique, the optimal performance of that lift. And so then you string 3, 4, 5, 10 of these type of days together, and all of a sudden you've trained a bad motor pattern 10 days in a row. But whereas if I recorded all my lifts and I saw, okay, 170 moved well, 180 I'm kind of leaning forward a little bit, I'm kind of grinding, I'm kind of asking for all these other muscles to kind of get involved and lift, I would have known, okay, so 170 is my limit and that's where I'm going to stop. Because as I've preached in the past, lifting every day can get very dangerous if you start going balls to the wall and you start completely getting out of position. So this is where video is the greatest teacher in my opinion. And I'm somebody that trains alone, doesn't train alongside a coach, so I don't have a coach's eyes feedbacking to me all the time. This is what you got to do. So really the only coach that I have is my brain through the lens of the camera. So I'd encourage you guys, if you haven't done it, record yourself. You don't have to start a YouTube channel like a lot of us on YouTube, but just for your own self, record the thing, see how you're going. And I bet your bottom dollar, mate, you're gonna learn something from it. Like I said, I've spent many years training before I had the balls to actually turn the camera on and see myself. Like it's a sobering thing. Like, you know, you see, for example, Larry Wheels, you know, pulling damn near half a ton off the ground, and that's what your brain sees. And then you get under 140, 150 kilo bar, you squat it, but there's no, like, you don't really know what's going on. Whereas if you had, say, the 500 kilo deadlift, and then you watch yourself deadlift, I don't know, 200, you can see the variation. You can see how a professional, how a guy on the top of his game, how he looks compared to you, and you can actually start comparing. I come from a background of basketball. That was my sport, that was my first love, that's all I cared about until about 20 when I gave it up. But I learned most of my stuff from watching the NBA, you know, watching Allen Iverson, watching Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, you know, watching these guys operate. You know, these are the people you should be watching. These are the people that can teach you stuff. So, you know, so one thing is watching the best of the best perform, and then recording yourself and then comparing the two. Because how are you supposed to tell the difference between the top guy and you if you don't have a video form to actually compare? You can't compare emotion, how you're feeling, compared to a visual thing, right? It's like comparing apples and oranges. So I highly recommend you guys start recording yourselves, purely because I feel video is the best teacher you're gonna have, barring a good coach. I know a lot of us don't train to break records. Like I started training with a barbell because I liked training with a barbell. Like I initially was to play basketball a little bit better, and then when that kind of faded away, I started lifting because it was fun. So a lot of us are not going to be in position to actually, you know, hire a coach and start spending money on a coach. I think the vast majority of us fall in the circle of no coach. So this is where I think this tip is really valuable. Everyone's got a bloody camera on their phone. No one really has camera-less phones anymore. So just switch it on, man. You know, pointing to yourself, record yourself, and you know, if you're not going to open up a YouTube channel like I have a folder on the computer. Keep dumping these files in there. You know, you don't have to dump every file in there. Just once in a while, and then it'll be really cool. Like after a year, 2 years, 10 years time, you look back and you see where, you know, where you've come from. So yeah, that's my tip of the day. I've just finished off another session of squatting today, and it felt amazing. It felt amazing because I haven't been pushing as hard lately. I don't know whether you guys have noticed, but you know, weeks prior I've been hitting 180 every day. Now I'm hitting 170 every day, even though I can do 180. But 170 is just crisp. I feel like 170 moves beautifully. And that's what I want. Like I want to practice perfect form. I know I can lift 180, maybe even 190 if I ask Jesus for help and I just start freaking good morning this thing up. But that's not the point. The point is to train with perfection. And on the other spectrum, some days I'll lift the weight and I'm like, oh yeah, that felt really easy. Let's fucking put on some more weight. It felt easy because I maybe got out of position. I started deadlifting this thing up, right? So it works both ways. You know, your emotions and your feelings can make you feel like the weight is too heavy for you, and it can also make you feel like the weight is too light for you, and you start going over. You know, and this is where injuries happen. So to cut this rant and not to continue, I could continue talking about this forever, really, but I can't emphasize enough, really, how valuable video is as a teacher. So anyway, guys, that's my tip for you. See you guys.